Hey friends, welcome to the Spirit the Beyond Files. I'm Beck and this is Rach.
You ready to crush into reality? You're in the right place.
Let's dive in.
When a visitor seems to appear out of thin air, a resident's reliable Ring doorbell was sure to alert her. But by the time she answers the door, the mysterious guest has already made his way inside and taken her seat, and helped himself to her drink. He disappears just as quickly as he appears, leaving the woman and the rest of us confused.
Damn, even ghosts need a break. You think it could have been like a glitch or some sort of video artifact?
I definitely think it's a possibility that it just didn't pick it up right or something. But it also could have been what you call a hitchhiker ghost coming through and having a snack. I'm just curious if they can actually taste food.
Yeah, I don't know how he was able to pick anything. I mean, what is going on?
Weimer from Ghostbusters was eating food all the time. So yeah, it's a very reliable source, Ghostbusters. So.
Oh, definitely.
When I say that people are catching more and more things on film, this is exactly what I mean. This witness was sitting in their car at a store, waiting on their loved ones when they look over, and in the car next to them, they see this person, but it doesn't look like a person. It makes you question, are we starting to see the supernatural world around us? Are we starting to really see reality for what it is? Or is this what scientists came out and dubbed the demon face syndrome, in which it's a rare condition people can see demons in faces of other people? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Who knew a simple car ride could turn into a horror film?
Ugh.
I mean, it could be a trick of the camera. It could be the lighting. It could be a demon.
Could be. It's kind of weird that they told us that this is a new syndrome of seeing demon faces, and all of a sudden we're seeing it all over the place too. Odd.
It is a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of almost feel bad for this person too, because what if they just got dumped last night? They drank a bottle of tequila. They went to bed. They didn't do their skincare routine. And then they're in their car and the person's like, oh, it's a demon in the car. They're on blast.
Okay, so let's talk about the haunted item number one. It technically is not a haunted item. It's actually an old church relic that I use during the minor rite and solemn rite of exorcism. So a family decided to purchase a Ouija board. They thought it was fun. Well, why not? They decided, let's just try it. And they did. And the planchette moved, and each of the family members thought that the other person was moving it, but they didn't really think much of it. So they played with it for several days. But one night, it was really late. The mom woke up in the middle of the night because she described it as like someone taking a ball and bouncing it on the wall and hitting it 3 times. It was just like 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3. So she got frustrated. She thought it was the kids playing ball in the house, pretty late at night, by the way. So she got up, went to the kids' room. No one was, they were all sleeping. She went into the living room where the Ouija board is, and there was no one there. But she began to hear the bangings and threes, and she said it was everywhere. It was coming from every direction. She couldn't find one focal point where it was coming from. And she looked at the Ouija board, and the planchette started moving. Now, she thought originally someone was playing a joke on her maybe, but there was no one else there. There was no one there. And the planchette was moving. She contacted me. She said, I want this out of my home immediately. So a team was dispatched. They caught some Class A EVP. EVPs are electronic voice phenomena on digital recorder, where you could clearly hear it said, get out, leave now. There were some other things it was saying, as growls. And so clearly the minor rite of exorcism was warranted. So I showed up, and I always use this crucifix, no matter what. If it's the minor rite of exorcism or the solemn rite. The solemn rite is reserved for someone who is possessed. The minor rite is for a demonic entity that has infested itself within the home. You bless the home. You don't perform an exorcism on a home. You bless the home. You perform the exorcism on the entity that has infested itself within the home. Well, this is pretty old. This was the 1940s, 1930s, or 40s, and the candles, actually, it's the original candles. So I use tea light candles. That's what I always use, always have, because I don't want to use the original candles. So when I was doing the minor rite of exorcism, I had the tea light candles ready to go, and I placed them, of course, right here where the candles are supposed to go, like right here. And as I was beginning the litany of the saints, someone screamed and they said, Bishop Long, the cross is on fire. So this kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like. Now, of course, this is the battery operated. The flame from the candle went to here. And it actually caught this on fire. This was on fire. So let me give you an idea. It completely burnt through the porcelain. Even to the top there and underneath the arm here. That's all burnt. And we're talking about a tea light that was here. From the flames going here, it was like a flame torch from here to here. And so obviously I was very upset because this is very old. But nonetheless, I still use this. But I think that's the moral of the story here is please don't play with these Ouija boards. I know people are going to say, oh, Bishop Long, I play with them plenty of time, nothing ever happens. And I say, yet. Because what happens one time when it does? And this is not a quick fix situation. Just because I show up and do the minor rite of exorcism, you might have to take 3 or 4 or 5 of these things. So it's not a quick fix situation. Just stay away from the Ouija boards. There's nothing good can come from them. God bless.
Blessings with a side of pyrotechnics. I'd say whatever caused that had to be pretty powerful, beyond just a spirit. Sure.
Mm-hmm. I've never used a Ouija board, and I hope I never do. I don't plan on it. But you never hear a wholesome story
Never.
of using a Ouija board.
I've used them. Not good. Never had a wholesome story.
I've had family members who've used it, and they have terrifying stories.
Yeah.
After that,
The people that claim, oh, well, if you protect yourself and you have to close this.
no.
Nah. Stay away from Ouija boards, fam.
Yeah, I saw one time a girl at the Renaissance Festival, and she had the whole Ouija board tattooed on her back.
Oh, man.
I don't know if she was trying to be the vessel for the spirit.
Yeah, it's a little much to have the tattoo. And I know there are
Yeah.
people that carry handbags or they have a Ouija board coffee table. And literally anything could be a Ouija board, a piece of paper with a glass on it with things written on it. You really want to invite it in. You're going to invite it in. It's just, what exactly are you inviting in?
Exactly. Nope.
Nope. That's a big nope from us.
I often hear people talking about stories, usually ghost stories, that involve hearing something in the woods that they can't see and they can't place, and it moves around in the dark. Hi. And the first thing that always comes to my mind is ravens, as Fable's just shown you. All corvid, so crows, rooks, magpies, jays, ravens, can imitate, and they imitate much better than parrots. So I often think that with parrots, it sounds quite robotic and you can tell it's a parrot. But with ravens, hi, it just sounds the same. It sounds like a person. Fable here probably has over 100 things she can say. She'll say certain things with me all the time because that's what she likes to say. But she will, when I'm not around, practice saying all sorts of things, making all sorts of noises. It could be the sound of a droplet of water, someone knocking on the door. She can talk like me, she can talk like other people. So when I hear these stories of voices in the woods and all sorts of creepy creatures, I can't help but think, what you're hearing is ravens. You'll even hear then, if you rewind, that she made the sound of breath before she did her moi.
I love ravens. I once had a raven bring me a ring and it fit my finger exactly. It fit exact. Rachel saw it.
Magical.
That's so magical, man. It was like a little crown, like king's crown. It was coppery looking, or I don't know, maybe they made copper rings. I don't know. It's very fascinating that it just happened to fit me, but I know that ravens can mimic human speech. I think they can do like car alarms, calls of other birds, car engines, even flushing the toilet. They're nature's practical jokers.
Oh. I think ravens are cool. I always envision myself looming around with a raven upon my shoulder. I also think it'd be cool to scare people by training a raven to be in the woods and call out to them if you really wanted to terrify
You
somebody.
take the time to train the raven.
Right.
He's going, chip, 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 chip.
But I'll tell you what, if I'm in the woods by myself and I hear some voice just calling out to me,
Yeah.
I'm not just going to be like, oh, 'tis the raven and nothing more. I'm going to book ass out of the woods.
A raven would be your best bet in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. You know.
What I'm saying is I don't believe the history we've been taught. Here's a good example. Have you ever heard about Lewis and Clark going across the Mississippi? In 1803, there was nothing there supposedly back in those days. Okay, so now think about that. So we're talking about like 200 years ago. There was nothing west of the Mississippi as far as the America was concerned. Now talk about when these cities were founded and became cities like we know today. And explain to me how that makes even a lick of sense. Like, so how did Chicago go from like literally like a tent city in 1840 to Chicago like we know it by 1860? You think about all the central planning that would have took. Then you go like to places like San Francisco. San Francisco like had 1,000 people in like 1840. And then there's a panoramic shot very famously that shows the whole city in 1873. And it's a full-grown city. There ain't one bit of construction happening right there, but the whole city is fully grown. San Francisco was supposedly discovered in 1776. So this is around the time what it would have got its name. Well, here's the interesting thing. There's old maps that are 200 years older than that actually either have S Francisco on it in that same area, or they straight up say San Francisco. Where Chicago is at, there's old maps from like the 1500s that say Shalaga.
Boomtown Blitz, baby. I feel like we had technology that we are completely unaware of. We had advanced technology, way more advanced than we have now in the past. And I think that it was erased. And I don't know why they would want to hide. They would want to hide it from us. Like Tartaria. And if you don't know about Tartaria, look into it. It's a very fascinating thing.
Yeah, I never heard about any of that. And I find it fascinating. And I'm just like, if this existed, why aren't they telling us? Why? What's the big deal?
What would y'all do if your kid came to you and said, hey, there's a little girl that comes to my window with a scary face every single night. She's asking me to go outside and play with her, but I don't want to. What should I do? Unfortunately, I know what I would do because I did it. When it started, my daughter just said the little girl was coming to her window and she would have random details, but it wasn't specific or scary. Then it started to get a little fucking spooky, and my daughter was like, Mommy, the girl with the really scary face is coming to my window telling me I have to go outside and play with her at night, but I'm not allowed outside at night, and I told her that, and she told me to come outside anyway, and I was like, oh my God, I think there's a ghost, oh my God. So I'm scared shitless, and I'm like, okay, just ignore her, and she's gonna go away, and she's like, all right, I'll try. Now my daughter's telling me the little girl is banging on her window at night, telling her she has to go outside with her right now and to not tell her mommy and to go outside even though she's not allowed to, and she's being very assertive about it. And I'm like, that's fucking creepy, girl. So I had to come up with something kind of quick. I tell her, you need to tell the little girl to go away and never come back. You do not want to see her anymore. A la American Horror Story Season 1. She's like, all right, whatever. So a week goes by and I've not heard about it anymore. And I'm like, hey, whatever happened to that little girl who would come to your window? She said, I told her to go away and to never come back, and I never wanted to see her again. And she told me when someone tells her that, she has to listen. So she left and she never came back.
A ghostly nightly negotiation. I went through this as a kid. I had a woman that would appear in the window, and I didn't see her, but my little cousin did, who was like little thing, and she would come out and say, Becky, there's a lady in there going, Becky, at the window. She wants you to come.
No.
My grandmother was like, you're gonna go in and you're gonna talk to this thing, you're gonna face it. I was way too scared to face that. Can you imagine, like, there's a woman in your window going, Rachel?
And grandma's just like, you go.
Yeah, you go. But I think as an adult, knowing that if you go within your own power and you have this strength, that the ghosts need to comply. They do. There's like an unwritten law. If you tell it you need to leave, you need to go, and you're not afraid, there's no fear in you, they'll comply.
Good for everybody to know.
It is.
Command.
And I'm not too sure about like demonic stuff, but as far as ghosties, run of the mills little girls that are just like banging at your window at night.
As the mother, I'd be so curious to see it too. So I'd be like staying in the bedroom and trying to record it or something, and not just leaving it to my daughter to like be like, oh, go take care of it.
Right.
I'd want to see it too, but that's just me personally. And I'd believe it because I know children are, they're closer to the veil, so they are able to connect with
They are.
more of those things. But it's just interesting to know, like, I just wonder what exactly it was with their rules and if they couldn't come in the house at all.
Yeah, that's kind of vampiric. Like,
Yeah, that's what it made me think of.
let me in. Are you coming? I don't know if it said let me in, but definitely.
Yeah.
To me, it's like,
Yeah, invite me in. Because usually ghosts just stroll up in your house.
yeah, right?
Yeah, they're just
Yeah,
they're
that is a good point. I
Yeah.
never even thought of that.
There was a talk about souls. They were interested in our soul somehow. How do we have a soul? How does this container hold a soul? That was a strange conversation. I thought, man, that's just weird stuff people talk about on this base. I was sitting outside of my office, smoking a cigarette at the table with all the guys from the 732nd, the communication guys that listen to people talk. There was a couple of officers there. There was a first lieutenant and a second lieutenant, and then I believe there was a lieutenant colonel. They were talking about how these beings from other planets were interested in our soul. How did our soul get in our body, and how could they extract our soul? How did it fit? Could they move the soul to another vessel? Stuff like that. It was like, it was crazy, but I just listened, and it started to make some sense that these beings from other planets are interested in our soul. And how is it in the container? And they could repair our containers and do all kinds of stuff to us, but they couldn't get our soul. They wanted to know how to capture the soul. We were on an Earth school. Our souls were in school. Somehow this is where our souls came to learn. And they wanted to know how to get our souls, or the knowledge of the souls, or something that we've learned in this lifetime, this incarnation. Supposedly we reincarnate. I guess we pick our own lives and we made to forget, and then we're born again. And then we die, and then we go back to the soul world, wherever the souls go, and we get to keep doing that until we learn and learn and learn. And they were talking about all this interesting stuff I found fascinating. Somebody's got to be translating this otherworldly communication, and I just can't get over the fact that we figured out a dialect. Where did you figure it out? It makes no sense. And how many other species are we not aware of, or they're aware of and I don't know about? And, something's wrong. It's a whole world of deceit. We're going to Iraq to get artifacts, not to get anything but artifacts. That was the most important thing, they said. There were things in Iraq that were so old that we had to go get. And Bush wanted those artifacts. It was very important. We got them. They said they got everything they needed from that country. You're looking for the Ark of the Covenant type stuff. Weapons like that. It's a weapon. Supposedly it has the power to kill, and you're not supposed to look upon it or anything. We needed this for our own protection type thing. This is very important that we had this. Almost like a very big treasure, and if we have it, we're safe. They can't touch us type thing, and we've got it.
I personally think that ETs are fascinated by the human presence. I think that we create things that maybe the hive mind doesn't, like art, music. We have big spirits, big souls. So I can see why they would want to study us or be able to take the soul from the vessel, from the meat suit. I'm not saying I like it, and I think it's kind of
Right.
I also do believe that we reincarnate, because I've had that experience myself where I've gone back and retrieved that information. I've felt what it was like to be in a past life, and that's a whole other story for a whole nother show. But what I'm really curious about is, what was the artifact that the government needed to get a hold of to keep us safe? Was it the Ark of the Covenant? I mean,
It could be. Oh, that's very interesting. I'm curious to know, like, who exactly was trying to separate us from our souls. Like, who was it exactly?
what kind of ETs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the past lives reincarnation, If you've read Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss, he has a few books on it and it really goes into detail. But once I read those, it gave me a very in depth understanding of past lives and the meaning of it all.
That's a great book if you get a chance to read it.
Someone help me out. Is this a superstition or is this a real spiritual thing that's throughout other religions? The other day, I was touring a house for my mom, and when we got to the owner's suite, we went through the bathroom, and the closets in the bathroom, in the little hall leading to where the shower is and the tub is and all that stuff, there were two closets opposing each other. Both the closets had mirrors on them, which meant that the mirrors were opposing each other, facing each other. And I said, I don't love this. As I'm walking through, I said, you're not supposed to have mirrors facing each other. And the realtor looks at me and he goes, what does that mean? And I was like, well, I think it opens up a portal or something. It's like not supposed to happen. And he's like, what religion is that? It's not Christianity. And I was like, I thought it was a known thing, but maybe it's a superstition. I don't know. Anyway, I was talking about it with my husband and I was like, I think it traps, like there's something that can open up if you have mirrors facing each other. It's like you're not supposed to have a mirror facing your bed. But then I got to thinking about it and I was like, is that just feng shui? Where did I get that from? And then I started thinking about how we used to, in the past, cover mirrors in the house whenever somebody would die in the house. And I knew that was a religious belief that spirits could get trapped, but I couldn't remember what religion. So I'm like looking and all I can find are just some think pieces or some Reddits about people's beliefs about it. So is this a superstition or can somebody root this in other religions? I'm not wrong, right? The two mirrors opposing each other is not a good thing, right? Anyway, when I walked through there, I felt kind of creeped out just in that little area. It felt like this is not supposed to happen. But it didn't feel like there was some spirits in the house or anything like that. So I think we're good there.
Did you know that interior design could come with a side of interdimensional drama? She is right. There is a superstition to back it up. Having two mirrors face each other, it creates this infinite loop, this infinite reflection. And it is believed that there's a seemingly endlessness portal. Mirrors always have freaked me out anyway. I'm not a fan of mirrors, but I can see how she would think that. And I would think it's a little odd walking into a house seeing two mirrors facing each other. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I never heard of the being trapped in between two mirrors, but I definitely don't keep a mirror in my bedroom.
Right.
At least for a long time now, since I redid my bedroom. No mirrors. I studied the feng shui of it all.
Right.
But I also believe you should cleanse your mirrors, energetically cleanse them. I'm okay with mirrors. I'm in front of one all day at, my job, but when I have a client in front of that mirror, you don't know what kind of energy that they have.
Right.
So I like to make sure to clear the mirror and clear my space.
Yeah.
After, especially if someone, that they're in a bad place, clear that energy because I feel like it gets trapped into that mirror.
Yeah, I agree. And also, she was right. Back in the olden days, they used to cover the mirrors in the houses after someone died because they believed their soul would get trapped. So that is something they used to do. But yeah, mirrors freak me right out. And there's actually a movie called Mirrors, I think.
Oh, that one freaked me out.
And I think that was kind of scary, scared and little haunted dolls to me. But everyone's got their fears. I guess mine's mirrors.
This lady's been standing in the same spot looking just like that. Oh my gosh, what the hell is happening right now? She's been stuck like that for 5 minutes. Oh my god, fuck. What the hell? Oh my gosh, she has not moved. Her foot has been in the same position. What the hell? Is that real? frozen. She is stuck in the Matrix. Oh my gosh. She has not budged. There she goes. Okay.
I think reality took a coffee break for this lady. I'm always fascinated by the glitch in the Matrix or the people that get stuck. And I know it can be faked. I know it's, you can go stand and freeze, but there's just too many of them. And it's just a little odd, especially when you see like TikToks of large groups of people being frozen and people are passing by like, what the hell's going on? It's just too odd. And it's happening a lot. I've seen enough to really question what the hell is really going on.
Yeah, it is weird. If I was in the field and I saw that, I would probably just keep creeping closer and closer to see if she's going to move. It's either that or she has got the text neck and she is so zombied into her phone that she just doesn't hardly move or breathe or anything.
Do you ever notice, though, in the videos, too, nobody ever approaches them and says, hey, are you okay? Or tries to unlock them? I mean, I'm sure there's a few videos that they have, but the ones I've seen, they just kind of film them and are like, what the hell's up with this person?
Yeah, it reminds me when I'm playing a video game and there's a glitch and my character gets stuck and I'm just mashing buttons and trying to, get it to move.
Yeah, or NPC that's just walking into a corner and just keeps walking. Mother Nature has a twisted sense of humor with the Appalachian Mountains. That's all I got to say about that.
And especially that's a no for the Appalachian Mountains, because one of the rules too is if you hear something that sounds like it's in the distance, it means it's very close to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows that. Even us
Everybody.
that don't live in the Appalachians know that.
Every child knows that.
I have a ghost story. It's the realest thing I've ever experienced in my life. I collect Native American artifacts. And so my buddy and I, we went one afternoon. We find some stuff. I go home, don't think anything about it. I lived in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Went to bed sober. I woke up, my kitchen window had been unlatched and pushed open.
Dude, what?
My wife had bought this mirror. And so she and I hung this mirror. We looked at it really good and we were like, okay, good, go to bed. The next day, the mirror's got a giant scratch across the freaking mirror.
Dude.
So there was 1 week that I woke up every single night at 2:59 on the freaking dot. The last night I woke up, borderline having a panic attack. My heart was racing, I was sweating, and I turned my lamp on and I put my feet on the side of the bed and I stand up. When I stood up, something jumped from that balcony to the floor and it ran through my house. To the point where I grabbed my gun, dude, and I freaking racked that thing and I freaking vetted my entire house because it was so real that I was convinced that somebody was in my house. And dude, there was nothing.
So scared, right?
Dude, there was literally
That is the scariest
nothing.
image.
This is how specific it was. I heard the wood crack from the hands, the pressure, and then a second of pause, and then the thud shook my windows.
Like
in
a
my
human-sized
1000%. So we didn't tell anybody about this. And my buddy, I finally told him. He was like, man, one night I woke up and my dog was barking. She never barks. And he was like, I woke up and I heard a thud downstairs. He said something had opened his freaking Arrowhead case where his, like, the stuff that he found that day was in his Arrowhead case.
What?
I swear on my life.
Haunted housewarming, perhaps. Everyone knows that you probably shouldn't be bringing back Indian artifacts to your house. You probably got a curse. Have they not seen poltergeist? Do they not know about sacred Indian burial grounds? What are they thinking? And especially all the stuff that comes from Native American folklores like skinwalkers and spirits and wendigos. And there's no way I'd be bringing that. I'd be like, you can stay there on the ground where you were.
Right. There's no way I'm ever going to be getting ancient Native American artifacts, bringing it into my home, and then just in the middle of the night, waiting for the spirit to come reclaim back their belonging.
Right.
Like, no thanks.
That's a big side of nope from us.
What if I told you these cold white LED streetlights aren't just everywhere to save energy? No, they have a greater impact than that. Remember those old school incandescent bulbs? They weren't just about the warm, comforting glow. No, they were giving off near infrared light, something these LEDs completely lack. And here's where it gets crazy. Near infrared light is actually proven to help with cellular regeneration. Yeah, you heard me. It goes deep down to the tissue level. Scientists have even found that it can reverse disease in tissues like the retina. So every time you walked under those warm streetlights, your body might have been getting a little cellular boost. That's why it felt so good. LEDs, on the other hand, they cut out that near infrared spectrum. It's like they're giving us the bare minimum, just visible light and a lot of blue light, which actually takes a toll on our bodies over time. Blue light messes with our sleep, throws off our circadian rhythms, affects our mood, and long-term exposure might even impact our mental health. And yet, we're surrounded by it all the time. But here's what I really want to know. Who decided we'd give up warm, soothing lights for these cold, harsh LEDs? Conveniently, LED prices hit rock bottom, incandescent prices went up, and then they were removed from the shelves completely. We all just accepted the switch without really thinking about what we might be losing. They made this switch and most of us just shrugged it off. But don't even get me started on the 5.5G AI-controlled street lamps they've got planned for us. I'm going to go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
Going from warm and toasty to spaceship overnight. Seriously, we used to have these warm lights growing up. You're a child of the 80s, right?
Yeah.
I'm a child of the 70s. We had warm incandescents. I feel like there was some weird push to get these blue lights out. These cold, sterile, highly toxic lights, by the way, where you have to have a full hazmat suit to actually remove the lights, or when they break, you have to it's totally toxic. It can kill you. So why did we go from Edison bulbs and warm incandescent lighting to this cold light? I would think that maybe someone above us, conspiracy back here, thinks that they can control us better with the lights. They paint wall colors, different colors to control people's emotions. Like in prisons, I think they use pink or red to diffuse anger. They've done studies on sleeping with certain wall colors that are really difficult to sleep with. They say, don't ever paint your bedroom bright yellow. It's not conducive to relaxation. So maybe there's an influence or a health impact with that. Or maybe they're just trying to boost a certain industry. It's just really weird that you can't find any of the old bulbs anymore. Rarely. You have to go to like special lighting places to find the old good bulbs.
Really weird. They hurt my eyes. And now it's like cars have it for their headlights. I always think it's their high beams, but it's just so bright.
It's annoying.
Yeah, I like those like warm lights.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Who knew hitting high notes could come with a side of possession? I don't know if this lady's going through psychological stress. Maybe she is possessed and the evil needs to display it to everyone. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's odd that only one person, the person directly next to her, was like checking in on her.
Yeah.
So possibly the choir is just like, oh, Debbie's doing one of her episodes again for attention.
And everybody just ignores and keeps singing.
Yeah. And that makes it even creepier, though. And the fact that she went and she grabbed the railing and was just shaking.
Right.
And with that type of choir music just going on, it just made everything that much more unsettling.
More horror movie-like.
Yeah. And then once she finally collapses, they're like, oh, I guess we'll check on her.
So, a Petco 2 counties away from me ordered some feather dusters. and they got a surprise in their shipment of feather dusters. They didn't know what in the world this thing was. So then that Petco called the next Petco over and said, hey, we have this thing. Do you know what it is? So that manager went over there and says, I think I know what this is, but I'm not exactly too sure. So then she brought it to her store. Then she thought she would take it home and try and take care of it. Then she realized that she had no idea how to take care of this thing. So what this is called a feather star. And it's a very, very rare sea creature that you will not see in Petco's or any kind of saltwater fish store. It's very, very rare that you ever spot one of these. You don't even see them much in like real aquariums, like when you go to visit them. But the Petco called me in my local place and said, hey, do you want this thing? You can have it. And I said, yeah, sure. I've had it for probably about a month now, and it's doing really well so far. So hopefully it'll last a long time, and I'm very happy with it. So yeah, pretty cool.
This dude's bringing the deep sea drama to his living room, everyone. I think it's beautiful. I think it's fascinating. I have never heard of these creatures before.
No.
I did do a little research on them, and I found out that they can swim. They're typically found in shallow coral reefs. They can inhabit deeper parts of the ocean. They eat plankton and small particles from the water. There's many species, so there's quite a variety of feather stars. They also have the ability to regenerate, like lost arms, I think.
Like
Starfish, yeah. Which is handy if they encounter a predator.
Yeah. Wish I could do that.
Have you lost any arms lately?
I mean, maybe I want a fresh one or something.
It's true. It'd be good to have a fresh one once in a while.
I think, yeah, it's beautiful. It's cool. But the bottom of the ocean is terrifying. The fact that we don't even know hardly anything about it. And also keeping that in your house, those things are probably wildly intelligent. And I just feel like it's going to crawl out. It's going to just stick itself to my forehead when I'm sleeping.
Like a face hugger.
Yeah, and just like mind control and take over my body or something. So no, I send it back to the ocean.
I'm surprised that he didn't bring it back to the ocean and that the pet store allowed for him to take it without doing the right thing. It seemed like they didn't really care.
Yeah.
Can you see me? Hello? Can you find me? Can you find me? I'm here. Behind you, look. Behind you. I'm behind you.
I just thought this was hilarious. I mean, we actually got to witness a sporting miracle. Hallelujah.
Yeah, at first she's like, no. And then she's like, booked it up the stairs, probably better than me.
She moves better than us. Thanks for joining us on To the Spirit, the Beyond Files. Until we meet again, may your curiosity guide you.
And may the mysteries of the beyond inspire you.
Stay enchanted, fellow seekers. If you're